Welcome, Heiko, to the Data Science Conference Europe 2022 in Belgrade. I hope you're enjoying your time so far. So you have more than 20 years of experience in software engineering consulting and now as an AI ML solutions architect. You created NLP London Meeting Group where you organize meetups for the latest NLP applications. So with such a substantial career, could you take us a bit along your path and how you got here?
Sure. Well, I started after university. I started in software engineering and then moved into IT consulting, did my MBA in London, got stuck in London, moved to another consulting firm, and then eventually to Amazon, the retail company, and then AWS. And within AWS, so I started this role within AWS 2 years ago as a specialist solution architect for AI and machine learning. And early on, I got bullied into focusing on natural language processing because it was a trend that we saw, that natural language processing is becoming big with the rise of transformers. So that's when I then started creating or trying to build a community within AWS, the NLP community, and we had quite good success with that in the sense that we managed this year in October to, for the first time, organize and hold the first dedicated AWS summit for NLP, the AWS NLP Summit. So yeah, that's probably, my whole career condensed down to 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, quite impressive, and an impressive career to boot. Apart from this, let's say, more industrial aspect of your career, you're also passionate about producing thought leadership and technical content workshops, and also events for the startup ecosystem. So, could you tell us a bit why that is?
Yeah.
And where do you see the potential in that?
So I see this huge gap between NLP research. There's not a week going by where not a huge new fantastic AI NLP model, large language model, whatever you want to call it, comes out. And then practitioners, like people who are interested in that, your data analyst in a bank or whoever, who is looking at that and trying to understand, well, this is all great, but how can I actually use that for my use cases? So I see this huge gap. That is where I want to provide, as you say, thought leadership, guidance, a space. NLP London is pretty much, the idea is to create a space where researchers and NLP practitioners and people who are interested in NLP get together, exchange ideas, learn from each other. And my ideal scenario would be that, I don't know, in a year's time, someone comes back to me and is like, I actually found a job because I attended one of your meetups in NLP London. So I just like getting people together in a room and talk about interesting things.
Yeah, networking is always an important aspect of these types of events. And at the conference, your talk is how to train GPT-3 with your own data set. So what are some of the main ideas you wanted to showcase through this talk?
Yeah, so I guess large language models are already quite a big topic in even mainstream media, and it will just become more and more important going forward. So the main idea I wanted to show is, I guess, there is no barrier anymore to use these large language models. So during my talk, I highly encouraged the audience of just go to the OpenAI GPT-3 playground and play around with this model. There's so many demos out there, not only with GPT-3, but also open source alternatives, where you can just go and try out these models, try out different prompts. There's a whole industry now growing, which is called prompt engineering. So using what kind of prompt can I use in order to make the model do what I want it to do. So I guess that's the main takeaway I wanted for the audience. Just go out there, try these out. There's no barrier anymore. You can play around with those models yourself.
And you touched upon that there seems to be the new NLP model or new NLP research paper coming every day.
Yeah.
So looking further ahead, what is the future of NLP in your opinion, and how quickly are we getting to it?
Yeah, I touched on that in my talk as well. So GPT-3 is a closed model, which is ironic because the company who produces it is called OpenAI. I do believe the future of NLP and even, these text-to-image models that we have been seeing over the past few months is open source. I believe that in order for normal practitioners to put trust into these models, they need to be open source. You need to understand what kind of training data was used to train the model, and you need to understand how these models are deployed, what kind of layers are in between. All these things we can't do with GPT-3 because, again, it's behind closed walls. So going forward, in order for us have trust in this technology, it needs to be open source. And in terms of how quickly are we getting there, we are already on a very good way. There are companies out there who build and maintain these open source models, and even on top of it, make it very easy to use them.
Quite an exciting future, I think, we're heading into.
Yeah.
To end the interview, what is your strongest takeaway from the conference so far, and what will be your recommendation for future attendees?
My strongest takeaway is that this is an amazing community. I did not expect that when I came here. The organization is spectacular. I mentioned, we went out last night. It was a blast. But also the audience is engaged. There were many questions after my talk. So I would recommend either try to come here to Belgrade next year, or try to go to one of the satellite events in order to connect with the speakers, connect with like-minded people. Very much, what we're trying to do with NLP London. It's just we're 100 times smaller.
Oh,
yeah.
There's always room to grow.
Exactly.
Thank you for the interview. Thank you for your talk, and I do hope you enjoy the conference and come back next year as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Welcome to Data Science Conference Europe. My name is Heiko Hotz. I'm a specialist solution architect for AI and machine learning at AWS, and also the founder of NLP London. Let's change the world through data.